Hello everyone and welcome back to the Aether Hub. I'm Simon here bringing you another budget deck tech for MTG Arena. Yes, it's true, you can play this deck in paper in MTGO, but it's actually scientifically formulated to kill the best of one ranked ladder on the cheap. What makes this deck budget in MTG Arena? Well, the economy is more wildcard based, and that's the true currency on Arena. These budget decks try to make a competitive deck out of as little rare and mythic wildcards as possible, so you can win while not breaking your digital bank. Today we're going back to another aggro strategy, as they tend to work out pretty well against some of the more costly decks you'll find on Arena. Speed is king. If you win by turn 5, well, no amount of powerful mythics can really save your opponent. So that's the plan. Rather than another mono red deck though, strap on your clown shoes and brandish your brands. This is Rakdos Calamity, a budget deck tech for MTG Arena. Before we get into the actual deck tech, however, I just wanted to mention that the Aether Hub is doing a supporter blitz. New members of the Vorthos army on Patreon are now getting a series of powerful rewards from signed cards at all levels, and the biggest supporters getting a themed gift bundle. But only a limited number are available, so the Aether Hub needs to reach a support threshold to ensure our future, so please just take a look at the great benefits and consider joining the Vorthos army by checking the link in the description below. And now, back to the deck. As you probably guessed from the title of this video, what makes this Rakdos aggro deck so unique is the use of our new enchantment from Ravnica Allegiance, Cavalcade of Calamity. This 2-mana enchantment is the crux of this deck and really our huge build around. This uncommon deals 1 damage to target player or planeswalker when you attack with a creature with 1 power or less, and the damage can only be dealt to the player or planeswalker that creature is attacking. So yeah, pretty simple strategy here. Get some quick one drops out, pile on a few of these calamities, and every time you attack, you deal extra damage to their face. It's like our creatures are the burn. It's revolutionary. Speaking of creatures, yes, they double as our main aggro source, and with Calamity down as the extra damage on top. Of course, we are pretty restricted here, as the enchantment will only trigger off creatures with 1 power or less attacking, so let's start with some great 1 power friends. First, we have 4 drops of Fanatical Firebrand, Vicious Conquistador, and Footlight Fiend. These are some nice 1 drops to help get off to a very quick start. The Firebrand and Fiend act as pseudo threats, allowing us the ability to somewhat guide their damage if we need more to the face, or to an annoying creature that blocked. The Conquistador is just a way to double up on the calamities we have down. When it attacks, it deals some extra face damage, all of which further put our opponent on that ticking clock. Next, we have a playset of Kitesail Freebooter, Goblin Instigator, and 2 copies of Dusk Legion Zealot. These are all out of the 1-drop range, but provide us with some utility, or allowed us to go wider while still getting that 1 power requirement to help our strategy. Kitesail Freebooter is just an insane value card. Not only is it a great evasive way to trigger Calamity, but it also allows us to peer into our opponent's hand and steal something that could really tip the game in their favor. Major targets to look out for: removal, especially board wipes. Kaya's Wrath and Settle the Wreckage basically end this deck where it is, so steal those when possible. The Zealots are a little expensive, but they do draw us cards, great when we need calamities out or just when we run out of gas. And finally, the Instigators just put more 1 power creatures out, a 2-for-1 deal. Can't really complain about that. Lastly, we wrap up our creature count with 4 Legion Warbosses. These are the only rare creatures in the deck, and they are just amazing for what they're trying to do. At first glance, you'll think, yeah, the 1/1 goblins are great with Calamity, as you'll always want to be attacking right away, but wouldn't the Mentor on Warboss interrupt this? Nope. Well, it does after the turn, but not during it. Mentor triggers after the attack is declared and after the calamities trigger, so you'll get the damage from the 1/1 goblin token attacking, then you'll get to put that 1/1 counter on top of it. Sure, you won't be able to get the value in future turns with that now 2/2 token, but you also have a 2/2 on the board, plus more gobos to come in future combats. Overall, overall, this thing is just a 1 power token factory, which means more Calamity triggers. Circling back to non-creature spells, we'll have the normal aggro red spells we all know and love. 2 copies of Lightning Strike, damage to the face or sticky creatures is always nice. 2 Lava Coils, again, just for those sticky creatures, blocking our attacks. 4 light up the stage, so we can always have some cards in our hand and ready to go. And, of course, a real all-star in 2 copies of Experimental Frenzy. Because of the low cost of this deck, mana-wise, Experimental Frenzy can chain into some crazy turns. Again, this is a way to make our hand size basically mean nothing, because it'll empty more times than not. Honestly, this can be substituted for other cards like Flame of the Keld or Risk Factor, but let's be honest, Experimental Frenzy is just way more fun. Yes, you can get stuck with some bad top deck draws, but overall, it'll allow you to go off more so than the other options. That's what we want out of a Blitzkrieg strat. Quickly rounding out the deck, the lands. Guys, this is budget. Of course, the right thing to do is always to have a playset of Dragon Skull Summit as well as Blood Crypt. However, if you don't have any of those and it feels bad using rare wildcards on lands, I understand. You can use Guild Gates and other cheap alternatives, or just chance it with an even split of mountains and swamps. While this deck can function without the use of rare dual lands, it will be worse. Sorry guys, them's the facts. So obviously the dream of this deck is to have roughly 2 to 3 copies of Calamity out and as many 1/1s as you can muster. You always be attacking with this deck with that many Calamities out. That's a load of face damage even if some of your creatures bite the dust. Of course, some decks counter us hard. Life Gain, for example, can be annoying if they get down some good blockers. The wall decks that are fairly popular right now can be managed if they don't have, any card that allows them to do damage based off of toughness, as a big portion of their damage can come from Calamity. Yet, if their walls have teeth, well, we're in pretty big trouble. Again, Settle the Wreckage and other board wipes are also bad news, so try to steal them with your freebooters. Like with all aggro decks, you want to win as soon as possible, getting the win with... Like with all aggro decks, you want to win as soon as possible, getting the win from other aggro decks or even mid-range decks before they have a chance to really set up and get going. As we mainly throw this in best of 1, you'll likely be able to steal plenty of wins just from bashing forward and letting Cavalcade of Calamity do most of the heavy lifting. That makes this a very budget deck with only 6 rare wildcards used, excluding lands if you choose to go that route. Then that makes this a really cheap deck that can climb the ladder on MTG Arena. If you guys enjoyed this deck tech video, please catch our full gameplay testing of this live in the video linked in the description below, piloted by our own hub contributor, Jason. Let us know what you would include in this deck in the comment section below, and of course, share, subscribe, and hit that bell so you're notified of our latest uploads. You can also support the channel by visiting our Patreon page. Again, we're giving away loads of free rewards to patrons at all levels, so grab your Aether bundles and support the greatest Vorthos and MTG channel on YouTube. The link can be found in the description below. And as always, guys, thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you next time here on the Aether Hub. See ya!